In the last lecture, we set up our navigation bar, a very basic one. In this lecture, we are now going to begin building the UI for our registration form. The very first thing that we want to do is to create our routes. So the route to actually display the registration form. So let's get back again to the test editor. And right now we want to come inside of routes folder, routes.php. And then we want to create a new route. So we're going to say route get. This should be to /register. And then for the handler, we're going to create a new controller for that. So let's just call this register form. So usually the get route will be to actually display the UI to the user or display something to the user, while the post route will be to actually submit data. So for now, let's just use a closure. So we're going to say function. And then here we can just say return view. Then the view that we want to return will be auth.register. So we're doing this because we have not yet created a controller to handle our user authentication stuff. So we leave that for later. Right now, let's just use a closure. We do one for login. So this will be /login. Later, we come back to update from using a closure to using an actual controller. So this should be login. Okay, so right now, if we go back again to the browser, say /register, see. Okay, so we have made a mistake here. We are using the same name twice. So this should be login form. So let's do a reload. Now we get a blank page because we have actually not entered anything on that page. So let's get back again to register.blade.php. Then the first thing we want to do is to make it to extend the base layout. So we're going to say extend layouts.base. Then we can create a section for the title. So we can say add section title. So the title should be register. And then we can create another section for the body. So section body. And then here we want to end section. Then right here inside of the body, we can now begin to put all of the various UI components that we need. So since we are using Bootstrap, it's pretty much simple to set up a UI. So we're going to make this very fast. So we'll give this a class of role, and then we want to give some spaces at the top. So we can say margin top 5. Then inside of here, we want to create another div. Give it a class of colon-lg-8. So on a large screen, we want this to be maximum 8. And then inside of here, we can create an h2. And then just say registration form. So let's do a reload on the browser. Okay, so we have our registration form here. Let's get back again to the test editor. So I just want to add a little bit of style to this. So let's just say padding. The top should be 2 rem, 0. Bottom should be 1 rem, and then left should be 0. So right and left 0, top and bottom 2 and 1. And then immediately after this, we want to include the files for error handling. So the first one will be at include. So we want to only include this when there are validation errors. So when it is set errors, which is a variable that we are going to actually create and pass through to the view when there are validation errors. So if that is the case, we actually want to include that file. So that will be pashas, which is the folder name, pashas.validation error. So validation _ errors. And we want to do one more for success message. So we're going to also tag this with the variable success. So if there's a success message, we want to include that view success. Then next we can begin to build the form. And to make things a little bit faster, let's go back again to the Bootstrap website. Then right here, we want to look for forms. So we can just copy the very basic form here. So let's copy this one, then come here and just paste it here. So let's start by setting all of the form attributes. So action will go to /register. The method will be post. Then since our users can have avatars, so we can set the enc type to multi-part form data. And then the very first field here should be for the username. So I'm going to grab this, just paste it here. So this is going to be username. Then this should be for username. Type should be test. This should be username. Then we can just get rid of this and then say your username. So let's get rid of this. Let's copy this, be a bit easier to edit. Let's change this to email. Change this to email address. It's a column here. So this should be email. Then this should be email. This one should be email. And we also need to include the name control. So name should be username. And then here name should be email. So we have username and email set up. The next one is the password. So this should be password. Then this should be password. Then the name control should be password. So immediately after password, we want to have a feed for avatar. So the next one is going to be for avatar. So this is going to be avatar. This is avatar. The type will be file. The name will be avatar. This will be avatar. Then we don't need a placeholder for this. We also don't need a checkbox for registration, but we do need it for login. So let's leave it like this for now. Then let's try to do a reload on the browser. Okay, great. We now have the registration form all set up. So let me move the button to the right and then we'll pick it up from there in the next video. So I'm going to add one more class here to say float right. All right, that'll be all for this lecture. In the next lecture, we are now going to quickly build the login form, which is going to be very similar, and we are going to be reusing most of the components. I'll see you then.